Welcome to the Model Health Show. This is fitness and nutrition expert Shawn Stevenson, and I'm so grateful for you tuning in with me today. Listen, I've said this time and time again. I truly believe that our relationships are the most influential thing on our health, on our fitness, on our happiness, and on our overall success in life. Truly, if you're going to do anything exceptional in life, it's going to be with and through the assistance of other people. And this is coming from a reformed lone wolf. All right. I was all about doing everything by myself, and relationships were just very temporary in my mental construct. I had my family and then that was it, and over time, I've really come to realize just how important the people in our lives are and cultivating great relationships. And so I thought, what better way to highlight relationships and the benefits and how we grow together than having my closest relationship on the show today. So we got a very special guest on this episode. Before we get to this, let's just go ahead and put this out there. She's the best guest ever. All right. It's not even comparable. All right. She's number one guest of all time, most downloaded. I'm just going to put this out there today. All right. But before we do, listen, it's so important. My son, Braden, today, he's showing his mom he's got a crazy straw. Like, a kid, like at school, they give you these little goodie bags, and in the goodie bag is a crazy straw. And I'm like, hey, look, bud, you got a crazy straw. He's like, what's that? He just thought it was a straw. But he had the crazy on it. It becomes much more entertaining psychologically. And so he told his mom about it. And she was like, so what are you going to drink with it? He was like, my green juice. I was like, whoa, all right. He's talking about his Organifi. And so even my little guy, my 6-year-old, he understands the benefits, right? He wants to make sure he's getting his nutrient basis covered. He wants to make sure that he's getting the stuff for his muscles, right? It's very important to him. And also, for him, he understands what it's like to be healthy when other kids aren't, or what it's like for him to get sick, and he doesn't like feeling that way. So just leveraging those opportunities, like, hey, we need to make sure next time so you don't get sick, to get the nutrients that your body needs to keep your immune system strong and just to keep you being the best little guy that you can be and growing into a big guy. And so here's why we use Organifi. Now, one of the ingredients in Organifi is moringa. Moringa is hot. All right, if you don't know about moringa, this is first of all, it's been around literally thousands of years, documented in cultures that have been utilizing moringa, touted for. It's one of those kind of, and this is I don't like using this term, but a cure-all, because it does have benefit for so many things, from managing blood pressure to helping with blood sugar to helping to boost the immune system. But here's why, if you look at the real kind of nuts and bolts of why it's beneficial, it's because of the micronutrient profile. Moringa contains 7 times more vitamin C than oranges, contains 7 times more potassium than bananas, 2 times the amount of protein that's found in milk, and also 4 times the amount of calcium found in milk. Milk, listen, this was one of the biggest mistakes. And one of the things I was taught and marketed to when I was in school is that if you want to, how important calcium is, right, for growth and for your bones. I was chugging milk like I was getting paid for it. All right. Yet and still, I had this degenerative bone disease. My bone density was so low, I broke my hip from running at the age of 15. All right, 15, 16 years old at track practice. My bones were that brittle, but I'm guzzling milk. I thought milk was the calcium was the whole. It's not how it works biochemically. Calcium is an end product, right? And so we need other things, first of all, to make that work and do its job, but also other things help to create your bone. Silica, for example, magnesium, vitamin K2, vitamin D, all of these things work together synergistically to create your bone density. All right, so, but calcium is important. And we want to get that from a bioavailable source that your body can actually use without all the side effects. Because not only was I chug-a-lugging the milk and getting calcium, I'm also getting an insane amount of sugar as well coming via that particular medium, right? And guess what sugar does? It leaches calcium from your bones, ironically. All right, so getting it from dark leafy greens, and one of those being moringa. 4 times the amount of vitamin A, and 25 times the amount of iron that's found in spinach. That's just some. Guys, that's just some of the benefits that you get with moringa. Moringa is just one of the ingredients that's found in Organifi. Moringa, spirulina, ashwagandha, chlorella, real superfoods, low temperature process, so you retain the nutrients and actually get what you think you're getting, right? That's why they're so great. And it tastes good. It tastes good enough. First of all, adults will drink it, but also kids as well. So this is something I give my little guy. The green juice, also the red juice. He prefers the red juice, is more of his favorite. It's like, I guess I'll throw this out there. It's like healthy Kool-Aid in a way, okay? Kool-Aid is probably one of the most unhealthy things you could possibly have. I was a master at creating Kool-Aid, by the way. I'd mix the flavors. I don't know if anybody's ever done that before. You take a fruit punch and you mix it maybe with like an orange or a cherry, and you think you're just like the smartest person alive. All right, I'm sure many people have mixed up Kool-Aid flavors, but the amount of sugar, literally like a cup of sugar, right? A whole cup goes into making that Kool-Aid. Wonder why it tastes good. It's sweet. It hurts like a little pain in your cheek when you drink it. That's when you know it's that good stuff. All right, but it's not good. Don't do that. The red juice with the Organifi, they're using like, acai, concentration of like all of these incredible berries. Got a little B12 in there. You get 20% off utilizing your connection with the Model Health Show. So go to Organifi.com/model. That's ORGANIFI.com/model. 20% off everything. All right. Promise you, green juice, it is a must-have for sure. Got the red juice. They've got the new gold juice as well. Check that one out. All right, so pop over, check them out. Organifi.com/model for 20% off. Now let's get to the iTunes review of the week.
Another 5-star review titled, "The Top Off to My Knowledge Tank Every Week" by T.O. I first heard about Shawn a couple years ago when I was deployed overseas, when he came over and spoke on Abel James's Fat Burning Man show. I didn't start listening to Shawn's podcast right away, but I did go download a copy of Sleep Smarter, and it opened my eyes to the importance of sleep, like I was dropped down into the Matrix. Fast forward a couple years. As a husband, father, and military officer, I utilize Shawn's podcast as a top-off to just about every area of wellness in my life. Coming from a man that has to continually pour into others, Shawn and his army of guests on his shows keep me filled up so I can stay in a state of giving to others. Keep them coming, brother, and be blessed.
All right, thank you so much for leaving me that review over on iTunes. I truly, truly do appreciate it. And please, if you're yet to leave a review, pop over to iTunes and hook it up. All right, let everybody know what you think about the show. All right, I truly do appreciate it. And on that note, let's get to our special guest. Our guest today is the one and only, the amazing, the beautiful, the very best person ever born on the planet, my wife, Ann Stevenson. And real talk, she's just, oh my goodness. She's everything. She's everything. And it's kind of even hard to talk about, to get real, to get sentimental, because you transformed my life. You're an amazing leader. You're an amazing mother. You're an amazing woman. You're an amazing wife. You're an amazing inspiration for other people. And you do it just like it's not a big deal, just because you're being yourself. You're genuine. You're strangely funny. I didn't even know. I think I've rubbed off on you. And you're sweet. You care about people, and you go above and beyond. You really know what it's about to take care of folks. And you help to run our company. You're the behind the scenes of the Model Health Show. You really make me look like I know what I'm doing. So I just appreciate you immensely, and I'm happy to welcome you to the show.
Aw, thanks so much. I don't know. Can I say babe?
Yes. Call me what you want. Yes.
Thanks. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And, I didn't really want to come, but I got forced finally, and I was backed into a corner, and it was like, this is it. I have to go. Otherwise, I might not make it home again, ever.
You were in demand. I was showing you messages. People were sending me messages like, we need Ann back on the show.
Yeah, but I just didn't feel I was ready. I didn't feel like I had anything to say.
Yeah.
But literally the last few weeks is just like a lot's been coming my way. And it was like, okay, well, I guess I do have something to say. So.
Oh, truly. I mean, you drop nuggets of wisdom to me literally every day, but it's just in our conversations. And by the way, guys, I put her past appearances. We talked about natural birth, life-changing insights and tips for that. some of the most important things for building a healthy relationship. It's probably, seriously though, one of
Yeah.
my top 5 favorite episodes because of how important it is just cultivating a great relationship. So we'll put that in the show notes. But today, first of all, I want
Mm-hmm.
to talk about you. I want to talk
Mm.
about you being a mother, you being a wife, you running your own company, you having great relationships with, your mom and the people in your family, having friendships. You got a lot of stuff going on. Recently, you've really kind of just like taken your fitness game up a notch. So, first of all, what was the inspiration for that?
For me, and I guess the little backstory was ever since I met you, it was like I would go to the gym in a couple of months and then I'll drop off for the entire year. And then I'll come back again in a few months and a few months off. So it was just like this cycle that just happened. But, it wasn't anything special for me. It was just like, I felt you were forcing me half the time. That was true. But not until after having Brayden, our son, was when I started to really like, again, your hormones change. I mean, I've always been small. Remember, that's what we were talking about. Like one of the last times I was here was like, why should I go to the gym? Like I'm done. Why? There's no reason. And I had that mental thing of I'm small, but then with the hormones changing and just sitting and eating all the time and just not and feeling fatigue, baby sick, just stress, a lot of stress having a baby, and which with life and all of that, that led to just gaining weight, and it wasn't noticeable because I'm still small, but it was just my midsection was just like getting out of control. I mean, you liked it, you still do, but for me,
Yeah.
I had this idea, like I still thought I was small until when I went to try on clothes, I'm like, this just does not even like.
It doesn't match your identity.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. So that's when I would come to you and I'm like, workout, what's the workout that I should do? And at this point, this is after 1,000 times of giving me a workout program and telling me what to do, and I fail. You was just like, just do the old one, which I had to go dig up somewhere. And you told me to just, when you're serious, you would create me another workout program. So coincidentally, like, it was right after my birthday, and I think everybody has that feeling of like when it's your birthday coming up, it's just like all these changes you haven't made, and you do start feeling down. I know personally people where it's like when their birthday comes around, like it's like a dark cloud of
Yeah.
like it's a representation of all the things that they did not do. So I went ahead and I was folding clothes that day, of course, this heap of clothes. And I'm like, I told myself I would not end up just feeling just the burden of everything on my shoulders of being a mom. And so this was 3 years ago. And I remember Lewis had interviewed E.T. I'd never heard of E.T. before. And so I was like, oh man, this sounds great. It was about success. And so I listened. And when he started talking, I just felt like E.T. just came through the screen and like grabbed me and was like, listen, you need to really change. But one of the things that he really, it just clicked for me was execution. I wasn't really following through. And I would follow through sometimes, but long term, how that was affecting me. And for me, I think that's like one of my special gifts. It's like I will get the message, but I'm able to like unravel it where I'm able to see how it fully applies in my life. And for me, it was like that execution, my time, I've been wasting so much time. I don't remember what exactly he said. And it was just like, if this was my last day, how disappointed would I be? And it was like, no more. And then this, of course, the Model Health show was starting to pick up. And it's like, I can't be, I'm with you and you're like super fit and everything. Of course. And then here I am, I'm small, but like, I really was not about that life. I mean, I acted like I was, but then I wasn't.
Yeah.
So, that in itself was like, my start was just listening to his program. And then from there, I created a how. Because for me, it's like I got the message. Next up is how does this actually fit? Like, I think it was overnight. I put in a plan. It was like, I'm going to get up before Braden does. And I think he was 3 years old. At this point, we had a really good system. He was waking up like a certain time in the morning. So it's like, I'm just going to go super early to the gym and with my old workout, and I'm just going to go at it for that hour and then come back home. So initially it was hard, but then after a while it just started to really excite me because it was like I was leaving when it's dark outside. So it's like I'm getting ahead of everybody, and then when I'm going to the gym, I'm like listening to something that's fueling my mind. I get there, do my workout. When I come back, I'm always listening to ET, whatever TGIM was for that day, and that changed my life. Like, I know you came up, you like, what's going on with you? And I was just in so much fire, and that was the missing factor for me because I had applied so much, we've applied so much mental work, spiritual work over the years. We have all the how-to steps and like we need to do this, and now we have an entrepreneurship going on. But that was the missing piece for me, was the execution, the following through, like really challenging myself. And so, yeah, that's kind of the long, short story.
I mean, I could just listen to you talk all day. So beautiful. Thank you, baby, for sharing that story. And listen, so 2 quick things. When you said the I'm done part, like because you were small, we just had that instance happen. Another example when we were at your sister's house.
Yeah.
And her husband, Casey, shout out to Casey. He's just had this incredible physical transformation. For him, his whole life, it was the quote, the fat kid. And something clicked for him. And now then he did a couple of shows, right? And he even got medals and this kind of thing. And it's just like incredibly fit. And so we're walking out to go to the gym on our recent visit there. Me and Casey are walking to the gym, and this little kid, did he ask you?
Yeah, he asked me.
Okay,
I mean, he was like, he had this worry look on his face, and it's just like, why is he going to the gym? He's already fit. Like, and I think he used the word like,
ripped.
He's ripped.
Yeah.
And it was, I wanted to laugh, but like, it was like, aw, this is a teachable moment,
Right.
as you say.
Yeah.
And he was like, he has to maintain this, and plus, like, he loves to do it.
Yeah.
He loves to go to the gym, and I could tell like he wanted to come with you guys. Like, he really did want to come with you guys.
That's important too. Is like paying attention to these kids that are around us and exposing them.
Yeah.
Because basically the kid was like, but he's done.
I know.
He's done. Look at him. What is he? But this is why he's fit, is because he has these character traits and that he's developed, and he's going. It's not even just maintaining, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to maintain, like Rick Ross say, forget maintain, got to keep balling, Sorry, shout out to Rick Ross. But, the reality is this. So having that experience of people like, I'm done, I'm already good.
Yeah.
And understand that's not how life works. It's really about, there's either progression or it's regression. You can't stay the same.
Yeah.
And so that's number one. Number two, you did mention how, when your identity didn't match up to what you were seeing and how that bothered you personally, but I still loved you. You just pointed that out. I really want people to get this, especially folks out there in a relationship. I didn't care. Like, you just had my baby, and you were also taking care of your health. Like, you were eating good food. You weren't just sitting around all day doing nothing.
I was doing a lot of spiritual work, a lot of spiritual growth, and it was just all about the baby, the business. That's it. Like, I didn't even have a lot of structure with the household and all those things, because that was a big plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I want people to get is the support, because I wasn't trying to change you. I was supporting who you were, because I knew if this was about like you were blatantly hurting yourself and like, not taking care of yourself, like eating crazy food and this kind of thing, I might step in and say, like we might have an issue, right? But instead for me to love you how you were, and I mean, like I mean, I was very, very much attracted and loving you, regardless of like, the physical changes that you saw. I was like,
Yeah.
you're really good, But for you, you have an ideal, and I want people to get that too. Is like it doesn't matter what other people think, right? It really matters how you feel about you. First of all, we got to get to a place of comfortability and love for ourselves. But also, if you want to be better, that's okay, because a lot of people like, again, you're good. But
Hmm.
if you don't feel that way, you can step up and do something about it.
And also, too, I think human beings, we're here to evolve. And when there are levels, these are like there's levels to this. And there's just a certain place where it's like something's gonna nudge at you. Everything's cool, everybody's telling you, but it was just something in me that it was not resting. And it was telling me, I need to do this, I need to change, I need to adapt. Because you have to adapt to the progress. Because you've created, thankfully, thank you so much, of this growth aspect, like this growth, stasis in that house, like it's, continuous change. And it's kind of hard if you trying to stay the same and with us because we're always
Yeah.
changing. I mean, when it's called for.
And so I want to ask you, since you really embraced this fitness life, now you about that life, and it's been a few years now. And of course, like, we've traveled a lot. We've had a lot of stuff going on in our lives. But now you're showing up at the out of town hotel gyms, you know what I'm saying, taking the selfie. And that just wasn't your cup of tea back in the day. And
Yeah.
even, when stuff's going on, you're like, I'm going to go get my workout in because you know how good it makes you feel and accomplished. But I'm wondering for you personally, what are 3 things for you that you feel that you've learned about yourself through this process?
Um, First and foremost was, and I guess this also is kind of going to that part of like that nudge to change. I didn't know what I was like, how amazing this was for me. And one of the first things was that I was able to take whatever I was getting from the gym and apply it to my life outside the gym. Um, Creating structure for our household, our business being more alert, and of course, like even with the structure for the house, meaning, with the baby and the family, like it's like something was able to turn on because I mean, of course, you got tons of episodes where it talks about the benefits of working out, but like here we're just going to talk about the results. And for me, my mind completely turned on I'm able to see better. I have so much energy to do A, B, C, and D. But it wasn't like I'll just come from the gym and go. I actually had a plan, like, okay, we're going to have food this day, like, planning the days out, like with the grocery shopping, paying more attention to what my son's eating. And so, because all those things mattered, because
Hmm.
if my son's eating better, because I'm more alert and I'm really paying attention, then that means he's going to get less sick. So I can stay and continue with my program. Because what would happen in the past was, yes, I would get tired. I'm like, okay, no. I'm going to start going to the gym. And I might do it for a good 1 or 2 weeks, but then something always happens. My son will get sick, and then I'll have to just everything, crash and burn, and I have to stay at home, you know, with him for till he recovers, and then sometimes I end up getting sick. And then that's a whole other, so next thing you know, it's 3 weeks and I've not even like gone to the gym. So I found that in itself motivated me to just stay on top of it. Because even it wasn't about looks, like everything just went out the window when it came to that. It was just about how alert and present I can be for my family and how I can keep this structure going with that. So that was the first thing. And then the other thing was, and this was the self-development part, which was, and I think we ended up having a conversation about it, and you actually did the episode on you versus you episode,
Yeah.
where I found that the honesty factor, initially when I got into it after listening to ET's episode on Lewis, was when he was talking about honesty. When you sit there at the end of the day, you know you're not trying your best. You know you're not doing your best. So that was the first part. But then the second part was, how can I keep that going? Like, how can I measure that I am continuously showing up and being honest? And I found working out, I was able to do that, because it was like, I didn't do that last rep. Nobody else knows. I mean, I put in my time in at the gym. What's his name? Steve Weatherford. He also talked about that. He's like, when you lay at the end of the night, you know you could have given it like your last, like your all. And when you didn't do that, it's just that something that's, in you that, and so I use that part of really checking in on my honesty and how hard am I really pushing myself, because I knew I was able to translate it outside the gym. Let's say if it's a project, or if I have to push myself a little bit more, like, can I really show up? Can I just, and if I did my best, because I know I put my 100.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the other thing. But the last thing, and for me, it's the most thing that just makes everything worth it, is how I've seen it change my family. I think we talked about that one of the last times I was on the show, about how women, we really do set the tone for our household, how a household runs, the energy in that. And so it's like, with me being in it and us just creating this fitness family going, like Braden's on his thing and Jordan's doing his thing with us, going to the track. The last time we were on track, before we went out of town, just having my mom there. Oh my gosh, my mom.
So beautiful. Yeah.
Like, her seeing my change and my motivation has completely transformed her life. Like, physically, mentally, like, she's going to the gym 5 o'clock in the morning. She's showing her little gains and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, she's showing up and challenging herself, and that's been the biggest reward. And then next thing you know, I'm talking to my sister, and she's like, okay, she's finding herself at the gym. And also relationships too. And from that, having now even friends who are like, hey, let's work out on Saturday. And it's like, look at this whole new world that didn't even exist to me before.
Wow, that's so powerful. And like you said, just your attention being placed there, and then, seeing, this is something we've been talking about lately too, is, this concept of, friends, people being in your life for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime. And we're generally, sometimes, we get into a place where we become complacent with one or more areas of our lives, right? So you've got all this stuff going on with progress, with your relationship with me, with your fitness, with your, your business, but friendships might be stagnant or in a place where they're not really adding value, like you were adding value, for example. And then once you realize that, and you start to open up some space and make room for better relationships, what do you know? People coming in who work out, who doing the same thing, other moms and our folks who are, just kind of, it's so funny how that happens, but it's not an accident. It's really where your attention is placed.
And it's kind of tough, because it is a tough thing of seemingly letting go because you feel like you're losing. But then, like, the upside is how much so many other amazing individuals who are like on the same page or even better than you, that are like waiting to discover you too. So it was like bittersweet, but then, it's just been amazing. Like, the last few months, the amazing people that I've met, like, I can't even.
I know. So I would love to ask you, because I don't know, you've been through stuff, you've tried new things, you did some keto for a while.
Yeah.
Because, you're exposed to all of this great information, but I would love to know, what is the biggest health revelation that you've had personally, like within the last year?
I think the biggest revelation would be, I think that it would be how I guess it's a balance, you would say, of challenging myself, but also loving myself. And it was something that I've been able to figure out as I've gone on, because initially when I discovered this whole new energy in this world of fitness and working out, I was working out 6, 7 days a week, like drenched in sweat and just going super hard. And then but like my body was just exhausted. And I found that all those other practices that I was doing before, for my mental, like self-development, spiritual lifestyle, I kind of put those on the back burner because I was just on this go, go, go.
Yeah.
And also, like when I was there, it was just so physical, where I just would see, oh man, that gut, like I gotta like do the kickboxing more because I gotta get rid
Mm.
of it. And I know anybody listening, you've seen them people at the gym where it's just like they are doing those crunches because it's like you just trying to get rid of that fat, like, and it becomes a little bit it's like hurting yourself in a way. And that's kind of what happened to me, with like having my ear situation and stuff like that. And I
Was
ended
just a
up,
little parentheses,
right.
a little tinnitus. So, but
Yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
And so that made me slow down, because it was like, why is this happening to me? Like, why? Because it made me step back and reevaluate what's going on. And because when things like that happen, they're happening for a good reason, but it's just me being able to decode what the message is. And that was my message, was like, am I really taking care of myself fully? Like how am I actually loving myself? Like putting that energy back. I know I'm giving my all in the gym and all of that, but where I'm not speaking to my inner selves like I used to,
Mhm.
like literally taking time out, scanning my body, and having that true intimate connection that I used to, um, like having these talks with myself. And so that was it. It was like, how can I do both? So now when I'm working out, it's not, okay, yeah, I am challenging myself, but it's like that self-talk is in there where it's like still loving myself because it's hard.
Yeah, it
How
is.
can you set goals, like with, fit goals, like all these goals for yourself, but loving yourself at the same time?
Mm.
And, everybody has to find their own. But for me, I found mine through having a sacred ritual, like at night for myself. So,
Wow, I love that. Love that. So that's your biggest health revelation. What about what's been the biggest revelation you've had about me and our relationship in the last year?
uh, I guess I would say I used to feel like I was the anchor for, like our house and everything. But I'm really starting to feel like you are the anchor of our relationship. Um, you've introduced so many aspects that like never existed. and and I would have never thought of them if it wasn't for you. So, that to me has been to paying attention to that. Because, it's like, the women, we run things and all of that. But in our case, I just feel that it does flip sometimes, like in certain situations where, yeah, I mean, you are my rock, so most definitely I've come to see that more.
Well,
Appreciate you for it.
oh man, this is news to me. This is news to me. Wow, that's really powerful. I'm just grateful that I can be that for you. That's what I want. I want you to feel like, I got your back and that I'm always there for you, like literally, like no matter what. And also, it's just people, it's so funny. People think it would be easy to be with somebody like who's so inspiring or like they're always about self development and getting better.
Mm,
Like
Mm-mm-mm.
being around that,
Mm,
it's gonna create tension, you
man.
know? And now what's so beautiful is that we both do that for each other.
Yeah.
Like it gets on my nerves sometimes when you hold me accountable. That 1% of the time I'm negative, you like, look,
Yeah.
this could be, like I just went through the drama of losing my bags,
Yeah.
like my bags went to LaGuardia, my from Chicago. Like they just said, you know what, we're just gonna send them on a different flight to somewhere else, and you just being like, well, at least you're here, right? At least you made it here. Like you're with us now. So and it's just like, you're right. Because everybody has a tolerance level. Like I've been through so much that day. But in that 1% where I'm just like, just let me complain. You're like, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
You need to see how much you have to be grateful for. And like it just makes me stronger. So,
Well,
you know.
like you've had to deal though the reverse more though with having to tell me about stuff and like me not listening and then next thing you know it's we're having the argument and then later on it's you were right, like the shoe rack for example. We have this, he's told me about having to put up this shoe rack on our door because like to create more room in the closet, and we've had it for like 4 maybe even 5 years, and finally I did it and it's like this huge aha moment. I mean, I did tell him he was right, tell you
I
you were
know
right,
it's amazing.
but you know um what do you think, like how does other people supposed to navigate through that, because it's like you telling them a lot,
Yeah.
keep on to doing this, do that, but then they don't listen.
Oh
Like,
man,
how did you have to deal with me?
this is so simple. Oh, babe. First of all, you're hot. Like that makes it
That helps.
easier. Like you have the goods. So, but real talk, I mean, I me coming from the environment that I grew up in, patience was not a virtue. Like that was a very far thing from my reality. I was a very impatient person because, in a household, so everybody probably knows my story by now, hopefully, but the first part of my life, which is so cool to have you here because you met her,
Yeah.
but I lived with my grandmother, who was my Mima, and it was a very just beautiful experience as a child. Like I felt safe, I felt valued, I felt like I mattered, I felt like I was being educated, I felt like anything was possible for me, life was really beautiful. And from there, I moved in with my mother, who
Mm-hmm.
in ways like she couldn't take care of me, and like even when I go see her on the weekends, like I'm sleeping on the floor. We got mice and roaches, and and that's just the environment, but also is the mental environment I was exposed to. I mean, chronically just getting high and drunk. My stepfather and just having me in really dangerous environments, and the fighting. And but for my mom, she was just remarkably impatient, and that rubbed off on me to the degree I didn't even know until we got together how impatient I was. Because it's just not me today. But when she would want something, if you're not there, but by the time she's done saying the sentence, she's yelling at you and cussing you out and like just very angry, and how impatient she was. And so having that and then having my kids, Jordan and Jasmine, having my two kids, my son and daughter, before we got together, before I met you, I'm still young, but I would, just be so impatient, especially, with them. And it wasn't until we got together and I decided, like, no matter what, I'm gonna be in this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not gonna run from you like I would
Mm.
historically do. By the way, little quick note for all the ladies listening who is dealing with a dude just like he's got potential. You got to understand this. This is important because men will never change until they decide to. You cannot
Mm.
change somebody, but especially change a man. All right. If we've already said this, you've said it. Like, if I would have met you a year before, like, it would have
Yeah,
been here
it'd have
today,
been
gone
a
today.
wrap.
It would have been a
That would have
wrap.
been it.
And I'm so glad it didn't happen. But I had decided that I want to be a good man. I want to be somebody who's accountable. I want to be somebody who grows, because a relationship is the number one thing that's going to grow you. And so for me, one of those huge things, like top three, was my patience. And if we were going to be happy, if we were going to have a cordial, even ability to talk, I needed to be patient. If I really wanted to see you change and to go with me on these different things I was doing, my ideas, I couldn't expect, and I was ignorant in the beginning, like,
Yeah.
why are you not with me? That would hurt you so much when I would say that, like, why are you not with me? Like, I'm doing these things, we're gonna change the world. And it's just like I'm like teaching three people in the class, right? And I had to be patient. Instead of saying you're not with me, I had to be patient in you seeing the vision. I had to be more patient and give you more exposures and examples of how this is really coming to fruition, and be patient. It wasn't perfect, of course, but I just developed that muscle of like, and especially get this, probably one of the biggest things is me accepting you for who you are,
Mm.
and just accepting you for who you are right now. And you are perfect how you are, and just to love you. You might get on my nerves a little bit,
It's a little
bit,
bit slow.
but
Slow.
I still love you so much, just how you are in those different stages. And it's so funny how acceptance of a person and their spirit and where they are helps to lead them to, wanting to change and to be better for you as well. Because for me, like, I wanted to be better for you. I want to be better for our kids. And I want to be better for all of these people, even who are listening now, just to be the model. And so, but you were really the catalyst for that. So,
Mm. Wonderful, wonderful answer. No, that was awesome, babe. Like, I appreciate you for that, because I know it's hard. I know it's very hard.
now, one of the cool things is that you've also been there. Like, I could talk to you about what we really do. Like, you were there firsthand in our household, and just all like our biggest expense for the longest was food. Like,
Mm.
because, we're buying the best of the best stuff. And we have these growing boys in the house as well, and just, having these high standards. Like, you, a lot of times, are at the Whole Foods checkout. We get that receipt that's so long, like it could be like a scarf, right? You throw it around yourself a couple times. It's crazy.
Mm.
Like, it's flapping
Mm,
in the
mm,
wind.
mm, mm.
But recently, this was a couple years ago, we started using Thrive Market, right? And you do the shopping sometimes, but most of the time I'm the one on there, like, grabbing the stuff from Thrive Market. And it's crazy how much money it saved us. And you actually just bought something that I was like, I'm never going to run out of, because I
I
will
only
buy
bought
like
one jar,
5.
though. I only bought one,
I'm
because you need to
putting
order more today.
today,
Right.
my cart's already full, actually. So I got to just finish the cart because, we had to do the show. So Thrive Market. And the reason we use Thrive Market is that we're saving 25 to 50% off the retail prices of same stuff you'd find in Whole Foods. And in addition, guys, if you utilize Thrive Market, your first purchase, you get 25 to 50% off all their items. So what do we get? What kind of stuff do we get from there?
Toothpaste,
hmm
feminine products, amazing,
hmm
amazing, amazing. I love to get the bars for the kids.
hmm
I just like all the, like pantry, anything to do with the pantry
Yeah.
in the kitchen. I'm like 100% about that. I can't wait to get the actual, like, the frozen meats and
Yeah,
stuff.
they're gonna
Whenever they
have
start to
soon.
do
Yeah.
that, that's gonna, like, to be able to send that.
Yeah,
We're
and
gonna
produce, they're working on
yes.
that too.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
the non-perishable goods, so we get bars, the coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil is
Mm.
amazing from there. We save so much money, probably $5 less than you get from Whole Foods. Things like quinoa. What else? We get so many
I like
things.
that primal dressing.
Oh, the
Primal.
dressing, the
Yeah,
primal
all their
kitchen, yeah,
dressing, like
dressings,
the
yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah, so just so many good things, and you can shop under categories. So if you're into paleo, they've got paleo category, gluten-free, non-GMO, vegan, whatever it is that you're looking for, they've got it all categorized, but they're curating the product. So they're going and finding the best companies that are doing the most good on the planet as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so you can count on you getting the best thing and saving money. So go to thrivemarket.com/model health. All right. So the model health is one word. So thrivemarket.com/model health. You already get 25 to 50% off, but your first purchase, you get an additional 25% off your entire cart. All right. Crazy stuff. Plus free shipping. I know many a time I've thought twice about ordering something online because of shipping. Like, I might spend $200, but then the shipping's like 10. I'm like, I'm gonna just go to the store. So crazy. and you get a 30-day free membership. And I encourage you, keep the membership. You save so much money. It's absurd, And again, thrivemarket.com/model health. Get that hookup. If you're not using Thrive Market, you are seriously missing out. So head over there and check them out. Now, back to you.
Mm.
What do you feel for yourself personally? What's the number one thing you need psychologically? What is the number one thing psychologically that you need to follow through on your goals?
For me, I feel that the way I do it is if I ask myself the question, if I don't do it, what's going to happen? So I'll just go down this, all these process and these steps and like to feel the pain of not following through. And I believe CJ even talked about that, how to use fear,
Yeah.
for your goals, because it's a good thing. And so I just think is it maybe it's two types of people where it's like they will get pushed by that fear, like make them act, or people who are like you, who are inspired by seeing this awesome utopia. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna get up in the morning and the sun is out and we're gonna conquer the world. Like, I work opposite. So that to me has always worked the best. An example would be with me not working out. It's just, I go down this road of, it was like, if I don't work out, not only how bad I'm gonna feel, but my mental setup of it's just jargled and trying to get the kids going and all these other aspects, and I'm gonna be exhausted at the end of the day, and then you have to save me at the end of the day. And I know you're tired too, and I don't want to burden you with me and my energy. I want to bring you like the utmost, and because you need it just as much.
Yeah.
So, and how that's just gonna make us feel. So I'm like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
So I'm on it. I have to get that done. So
I love that. And that's another thing about us, is that I think we're very conscious of how we affect each other.
yeah.
And so you don't want me to go on stage and, like you're nitpicking me about some, random thing, or even, like if we're getting it,
Yeah.
like you want to make sure that I'm happy, that I'm in a good space, because you understand my responsibility, my value. Same thing for me. And more so than ever, like we're very quick to realize when we're not, when we're done something wrong, to each other, or even sometimes when we might not necessarily be the wrong person, but just to apologize for our part in it,
Yeah.
but it's not like, I'm sorry that you feel that way, and that's not really apologizing, but it's just like, I'm sorry for this. Like, I really love you. And, it's not easy for sure, and that's something, like, I don't think that was really part of your character. I know it wasn't for me.
Yeah, I was awful in apologizing. I mean, my mom she didn't grow up apologizing for nothing.
Yeah.
And I took on to that trait. I think you taught me on being more sensitive. And it's always funny because most times a woman's supposed to be more sensitive
Yeah.
than the guy. But in our case, it was opposite, where it was, even if I felt like I was completely wrong, man, to say I was sorry, or to even, it was like I would rather you pull my teeth out. Like, it was so bad. But you coaching me through that time and time again, and then just seeing how it would make you feel, like not hearing that apology, like, because it would make you feel so bad. And and it was just kind of that choice, like, my pride, or do I want to continue just making you feel bad, even though, and it's making you feel bad because actually I was wrong and I can't even say nothing about it,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And same here, um, just again, small things, and just not allowing those to turn into bigger things, because you're not addressing when we have little differences in our energy, and we don't just sweep stuff under the rug. Like, we address it, and
Yeah.
just be like, I know
Yeah.
I'm sorry about this, you know. So
Yeah, I remember, I think I was talking to my friend yesterday and I was like, I don't care where we at. And you're the same way. I think that's one of our things, which is not going to bed like if we're upset at each other. And it's like if we'll stay up and get it right. Or, it doesn't matter where we at. Like whoever, however, it's like we're going to come on our side. What's going on? Let's figure it out. I don't care if you got to go on stage, vice versa. Like if I
yeah,
have something important, got to figure that out. Like we cannot, because I think people, we take it for granted that the other person is going to be there tomorrow, or
right,
we'll get it tomorrow and we'll talk it out and we'll figure it. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. So it's like you have this moment with each other and you say you love each other. Let's get to the bottom of it so we can move forward and in this awesome beautiful space that we both want to be in.
right.
So
I think it's a big issue why people don't do that is proximity. You know, like you get used to people. You know, we take for granted, especially if you've been close for a long time. You know, in husband and wife situation, where maybe you got 10 years under your belt, 20 years, whatever, and it's just like they're kind of a part of you. Like they're part of your landscape of reality, and being that is so close to you, you want to control it. Like you just want the person to do what you want, to act the way you want. And that's setting yourself up for a lot of stress
yeah,
and a lot of like even just distaste for the person instead of understanding like, you know what they're gonna say and do. Cause I'll be like, why would you say that? Like that's one of the things, cause you're the type of person which is what I now see as like, there she go again. Or like it's cute to me because you'll even do it with your sister. Like she'll be like, why would you say that? Like you do that stuff because you'll just say the thing like an innocent person, just like what's the big deal, And but for me to reframe it instead of like I can't control what you say. And when she said the thing, she's not trying to attack me or like,
yeah.
these crazy constructs will come up within our head. And so it's just taking a step back and realizing where the person's heart really lies
Mm-hmm.
and also understand that I cannot control you. You cannot control me, but we are in this together to make each other happy,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Team.
There's no I in team. All right, so let's talk about for the parents out there, that have a lot going on. They've got the kids, they've got maybe a pet or two in the
Mm.
mix. Like your sisters they have too many animals. I'm sorry. I know that they're listening right now. There's too many, all right? Too many animals. But, busy life, got work, got, responsibilities with the kids. Like even today, we got my little guys graduated, from kindergarten. I didn't get a graduation at kindergarten. It was just like,
Aw.
see ya. First grade's coming up after the summer. And, but they're doing this really amazing play that they're a part of. But we have those responsibilities. We got to get the other son to work and this kind of thing. What are 2 or 3 tips that you can share to help busy parents to stay on track with their personal health and fitness goals?
I think first and foremost is the mental setup, like the mental aspect, the why.
Mhm.
Because again, if your why is not strong enough, it's only going to last for, however long. I mean, you're going to listen to how many podcasts, you're going to take all the notes, you have your shoes by the door. But if you got kids, you already know. I mean, like something unexpected is going to happen. So again, I urge parents to look at it from the other perspective of, if I don't do this, what is it actually going to cost me?
Mhm.
I give a perfect example yesterday. We worked out in the morning, was driving home, I hit a deer. I hit a deer coming home. Matter of fact, I didn't
True
see it. I
story.
did not see it. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
Hit a deer, came home, and now all of a sudden it's like, got to think of all the things. Because I woke up stressed, right? I woke up
Yeah.
stressed because of this play, and I couldn't find orange pants. It's like summertime. There's no
Uh,
pants. Matter of fact, everything is shorts. But
no, I got to talk about this really quickly because this is important right here. All right. So, you could and this is from your childhood, right? You don't want your son because when you came from,
yeah,
in
no,
Kenya,
I
you were
told
the
you you
bomb.
gotta
Like
help me with this. You gotta help me with
in
this.
Kenya, you were it. Like, and Jerry, which is your middle name, she's like, she got the hair, she got the swag. Like you were hot. You came here, you was like, you guys went to, Kmart, Payless, got your gear. You're like, oh man, I'm going to school. I'm hot. Like I never had clothes like this. I'm gonna be so fly. And then getting drove, like
Uh-huh.
kids just making fun of you, disrespecting you, and and it just, of course, that breaks my heart. I can't stand it. It's like, where are those little kids? Where are they at now? But anyway, so I'll be like hearing these stories from you, and just like how much like you got isolated, and you'd eat lunch by yourself, and all these stories because you didn't really feel like not the cool kid, but also just like isolated and different, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't want him to feel different.
Yeah.
And our son he's literally the opposite. Like
Yeah.
kids, he comes in the door, they run to him and run and hug him, and just like it's crazy, like this little superstar. I'm like, is this normal? I
Yeah.
guess you guys
Yeah.
missed him since yesterday, but but and and it's also his personality, but also the environment and the people that are around him too. It's not like this kind of soup. Like there's a lot of kids that are from foreign cultures already there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you would have much had a much graceful experience. But anyway, so I'm just like, let him live. All right, let him be. He's already cool. You were so worried about his pants not being right, right? It's for
No, we didn't have pants. I ordered orange
he
pants on
needed he
Amazon
needed orange pants for
because
the
I couldn't
play,
find
right? For
any
the play,
for
he
the
needed
play.
orange pants, right?
And I couldn't find any
After you spent
anywhere.
hours and hours calling
Oh
stores
my
online,
gosh.
then you finally order them from Amazon. You left the package sitting there for a day or two. You opened it up. You ordered the orange pants. You opened it up. Orange sweatshirt. The orange pants were not there. It was an orange sweatshirt right there,
Mm, mm, mm,
right?
mm.
And then you go to Amazon, like, what did I order? Did I order the wrong thing? And then there's the reviews. People like, I'm pretty sure I ordered orange sweatpants. This is a nice sweater, but they would send the wrong thing. They're just
Right,
like the worst
taking
company
pictures.
ever.
Right, it's like the worst. I'm never wrote an Amazon review. I'm so writing one. Like I'm writing one today because
Don't,
that's so
baby.
wrong.
Don't. We don't have time for that.
All
Just
right, just let it go.
yeah, just focus on greatness. All right. Don't
Okay.
got time for So here's the thing. You wanting so badly for him to make sure he's fitting in, he's not different. And it was a play recently, and they were all supposed to be witches and warlocks, apparently. It was a
Yeah.
Shakespeare play. And he's on stage for like literally his line takes 20 seconds, 10 seconds maybe. And you're like, no, he needs to have the black and the, this kind of thing. And he didn't have a witch's outfit. And I was like, it can't be that serious. Like, and so we took a little triangle from poster board and colored it. I had him color it black, and it took a black baseball cap, and I taped that triangle to his hat. It's like, that's a witch's hat. Done. All right. And we get there, all the kids, even they've
Man,
never been like this consistent, had their little witch's outfit on for the play. And my son
was
just
the
like,
only one. So I'm right there, like this will
you're like,
never.
see, I told you. I'm
Yeah.
like, he's cool though.
No.
He's all right. Look
And in
at
my
him.
head, I'm like, this can never happen again. And then here we go again, cut to a few weeks later, I'm like in the same place. And that's what I woke up with that, just like, okay, I don't have the pants. He does have orange shorts, but I don't want him to be different. But then, again, side note, like just having that energy in the morning,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like you about to have not the best day ever. But thankfully, we went and had an amazing workout, then came home, hit the deer on my way home, and had to, like, of course, at this point, you already know with the State Farm, like all this insurance stuff that you got to deal with, which means now I got a time that I did not even have. Because mind you, again, we've been home for 2 days now, and we don't have any food in the refrigerator. like I gotta go grocery shopping no matter what. So it's like that, and then trying to catch up with all the stuff that we have so much work to do.
Yeah.
And so it's like I have to now leave to go take the car to the collision center. And then from there, I have to go get a rental car. And all that process took like way longer than it should have for like no apparent reason because people not doing their job,
Right.
but whatever. And
We've been talking about that too.
I know.
Yeah.
And then get the car, which smells like smoke, which I currently have. Like it just, somebody just smoked like 1,000 cigarettes in that car.
It's a rental car from a major rental place, all right? I'm like, why don't you just get a different car? He was like, this is the only one they have.
Only car in
Immediately,
the
I'm
lot.
like,
I'm not
what
kidding.
business do you have doing business, right? You got one car. You're a rental car company. You have one car available. And like, I was like, is it that bad? You're like, and then I got in today and it is really, really terrible.
I
You know,
know.
it's like the plates are from Florida and, you know, we're in St. Louis. So it seems that somebody chain smoked from Florida all the way to here the entire time, windows up, all right, with the heat on, and just like infuse that into the car. And they just
Right.
like, oh, this is normal. This is okay. Side note, sorry.
Yeah,
but
no.
that's not greatness,
It's I
right?
know, right?
Wonder why their location franchise goes under, right? Pointing fingers. Oh, we're gonna go wash it for you. You know it smells like cigarette
I
smoke.
know.
Sorry.
So, anyways, so now with that energy of like I'm just exhausted and I still gotta go to Whole Foods. Spent like again, since we don't have anything, I spent like a good hour in there to get food for the week, and you always gotta get extra because the boys are just you guys are just you drive me crazy. So by the time I get home, I'm so tired. But and the first thing I said when I came through the door was like, man, I'm so glad I got that workout in because ain't no way I would have had to like maneuver all of that yesterday. So for me, it's looking at how much like it's your lifeline. Period. End of story. If you're an entrepreneur, a parent, and most importantly, if you work from home, it's a must you work out. Like, and I'm talking about, you really having a great intention with it. It's like there is no other way short, nothing. There's no discussion because the amount of energy that you're putting in every single day, the decisions, Shalene talked about that. Like how much mental energy it takes for the decisions, everything that comes across you. It's just like weighing you down. And then when you have kids, that's teenagers, for example. And also their problem solving for the kids, or
Right.
if you're trying to come up with, punishments, for consequences that they've done, like to really internalize the entire process. If you're tired from everything that's been going on, because that's what I feel your fitness, because when you work out automatically you have more energy, and then you're gonna start to expand your thinking, and if you allow it. Of course I know that people like I work out every day, I don't feel, but I just think it helps tremendously if you allow it to.
Yeah.
So that I think is the key. It's just looking at it more. If I don't work out, what would that do for me and my family? Because you don't want to go there. You've been there so many times, and you know how horrible you feel at the end of the day. So that's, to me, it's the number one thing, is just looking at it from the other perspective because you've lived there.
Now, what about any particular like strategy or, so if again, busy parent, lots of stuff going on, how do you make sure that you're getting to the gym in the morning? If that's when you're going to the gym, or, after work or whatever the case might be, is it like scheduling it? Is it like having your clothes out? Like, what is it? What do you think people can do, or what do you do personally to make sure that you are showing up?
I think the first thing is setting some time out for yourself. to really looking at, I mean, and writing it down, like all the things that you need to do or have to do. That's huge, because then you're able to see how you can schedule it, like you say. But you have to take inventory. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are listening. If you are about to delegate to an assistant or whatever, you have to first write down all the things that you're doing so you can actually see it in paper. Because it's like a mental note in your head. So when you have it, then you're like, okay, there is this stuff that I have to do today. Like I have, we have soccer practice on this day. Like all the things I have to pick up my son from football practice on these days. And if it's all the other kids involved, like, with all the activities and everything, put them all out in the calendar, like all the different times. So everything is there in, like, I use Google Calendar, and instead of having it again all in your head, like we said, if you having it in your head, it's just so much energy that you just using up, and that's what we're trying to do, is free. So I highly recommend putting everything in the calendar so you can see what's available to you. And I know, as you always recommend, is working out in the morning. I mean, again, I know some things are, and you can avoid them, and things will happen. But if you can, and I think you also talk about like 5-10 minutes of just being able to get that in the morning, that would be it. But most importantly, it's your night routine.
Mhm.
And that intention, I believe, if it's like with the journaling, like having that intention for it. So for me, I remember I had my vision board right by the bed. And it was the first thing, the last thing I saw when I went to sleep, and the first thing when I woke up. And so it was like, and I remember the alarm would go off, and and I'll get up. First thing in my head was like rise and grind, and and it's just, I hop right out and I see, okay, this is what I'm going for. Like it's right there in front of me, so I can remember, okay, like my objectives, where I'm headed. Because that's another thing, like I've seen so many people do. It's like you listen to ET, you listen to somebody who's inspiring. He's waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to start getting up, and you're getting up and you're going and you're working out and you're doing it. But there is no plan. Like there is no actual, like, sitting down and you actually having an entire plan on how this is going to go. So you are doing it and you're putting a lot of work, but
Mhm.
where is this actually going?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna start looking fit or whatever, but I think the why has to be a little bit deeper, and so that's kind of, what I do.
I love it. It's so simple, but just like having a plan for your day, Oh man. Because I think really we are kind of at the mercy of like whatever happens a lot of times, like so being very firm in that. So I love that so much. One last thing I want to ask you about. Well, two quick things. One of them is food prep. All right, just really quick. This is something
Mm-hmm.
that's been relatively new for us. It's
Yeah.
solved a lot of issues,
Oh my goodness.
So how do you go about doing your food prep, and what helps you mentally to be able to get it done?
First and foremost, again, I always go to my whys, because for me to do something long lasting, it has to be a strong enough why. And for me, my why was, you're at home with me, we're both working all day, but it was like you would come in the kitchen and you look so hopeless, and you're you're over there trying to scramble your little food and whatever it is in the refrigerator. And it was like, man, he's wasting so much time when he could be spending that time like crushing it and doing what's actually more important. And of course, again, I do still make dinner and I make breakfast, but that lunch thing, because for me, and it's still never been my thing, I just don't like to eat lunch that much. That's just, it's not
Mhm.
my favorite thing to do. So kind of way. I was like, I don't care what everybody else is doing, So that was my motivation, was like, I wanted you to do what you need to do. So that was first and foremost. And so how do I do that? And then I started kind of looking at how everybody was meal prepping, and that's kind of what got me in that. So it would be writing out my list. First, I would, during the week, I would just kind of look at recipes that I want to try, or things that I would want you to have. And then on Sundays, I would go to the grocery store, and then I'd come home and set up. And honestly, ended up being one of my favorite times of being alone. Like, and funny enough, you guys never bother me ever. It works out perfect. But having my little laptop, my Bluetooth on, and able to just, zone out and get to cook. I love to cook anyways. So, and then having like all the meals in the refrigerator for you, it's the best thing ever. And then for me too, next thing you know, like, especially if I'm working out this much, I should be, eating more, basically. But also too, I think after a while, because I think everybody, you do get burned out. I know I did. But then luckily we did go on vacation. Well, work a vacation for me, work for you. And we came back, and I felt like I'm more fueled up. Like, I can't wait to meal prep again. Only thing I would change now is I would probably want to do grocery shopping on a different day than doing it the same day that I'm meal prepping. So I can have some time at the end of the day to just kind of wind down with you guys.
Yeah. And also, this is a time, like you said, it's your me time. I got the boys, and we're, off doing whatever we're doing. And, this is your time. You can get your mental snacks in. It's not all just about personal development and, but
shout out to Vikings.
so you're watching your favorite shows. I'm just like, how do you know so much about this show? Crush some seasons being, doing the food prep.
And that's the thing. You do need that. You do need that wind down time, I think, because in a way it gives you a different perspective for all the self-development work. It's the weirdest thing. Like, it always does that for me.
Yeah, love it, love it. So last thing I want to ask you about is, yesterday you mentioned something, and, you're just talking about how a lot of women don't really realize how strong they actually are, how strong and capable and gifted they are. And I want to just ask you, because you are with me, you know what I'm saying? And you're very influential over me. And so a lot of people in relationships, there's like, I can't get him to, he's not listening or whatever. What advice can you give, or what insight can you share on, quote, influencing your mate to, kind of get on board with the program?
I think, first of all, I want to shout out my grandmother and my mom and my sister. But I just think I have been fortunate to have such amazing, strong women in my life, that I have just some solid examples on what a strong woman looks like. And once I had Braden, I started to understand that strength that I had in me, that it wasn't a physical thing, even though, when you work out, it is a certain strength that I'm able to tap into. But this is a whole other part that I never knew existed in me. I knew it was dormant until then. So that has helped. But again, don't necessarily, if that you don't have that background or anything, I know truly that women, we have this superpower that we try and ignore it. I knew it was there before realizing and having home birth and all of that. It was there. It was just like I didn't want to own up to it. I felt that I wanted to shy away from it. But it just kept on coming. And again, situations will come forth for you to express that. So first is just the realization that if you are a wife or a girlfriend or whatever, it's like you do take control of the relationship in a different aspect, but you're kind of the driver. You're able to, they always say, you can train your man how you want them to treat you. And it was just like, wow, how am I supposed to do that? Like they seem like they know, they're hard-headed, they can't listen. The thing is, they don't want to be without you. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the one, and if they don't, like, obviously they're not the one for you. And again, it's not about abusing your power. It's you've always been able to see the bigger picture before it happens. And I'm speaking to the ladies. We are always able to see it. Even when it's a small inkling, something happens. I know you can testify to this so many times. I've told you about something. And then, sure enough, it comes to pass. But it had to happen so many times. I think some men, it might have to take so many times for it to happen where it's like, I told you so.
Yeah, should have listened to Mamacita.
Right.
Should have listened.
Until now, he just has to come be like, what do you think?
True.
But,
True.
and then that we talk about that patience of being there and being like, you know what, he'll get it. But you know who you're in the relationship with and what routes you have to. For you, I knew you would get it at some point. But some things we just have to go through the motions with it. But as women, it's like standing up to that role. Because if you don't, no one else will. And I know sometimes it seems unfair. Like, well, he should, No, he's busy. He has his own role and he knows what he's here to do. For you, he is he can be the provider or however, whatever title that you have, the complexity of the relationship. But standing up for that because no one else will. That means you taking control of what happens in the house. This is what we're going to do in the mornings. We're going to talk this out. I don't care what happens. No. Yeah, you want to go? Okay, if you go, then these are the consequences. And that's another part I feel they're so afraid if they set consequences that their man will leave them. Then obviously it wasn't for you. And I'm sorry, it hurts to say that, but it's the truth. Then they were not there for you, because if they are, they're willing to battle it out. If that means they're going to sit there and y'all going to talk for 5 hours straight to figure out what is going on because you are worth it.
Yeah.
But it takes for you to recognize that, because a man is not going to shine that light for you to do that. And the thing is, every woman knows this is true. They feel it in their heart. It's just that afraid of, if I do it, the love will be taken away. I don't want to be too strong, or, all these small things. And the funny thing, a man will embrace that. It will embrace it and will uplift you up even more. So I think patience, but also just following your innate gut to just follow through, stand up, and being strong. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is like, babe, when you said he doesn't want to be without you, man, that hit my soul. Like, I definitely do not want to be without you. What does it take? What do I have to do, And I'm just going through scenarios in my mind, like, what if I'm upset? What if I'm really hurt about something? So I still don't want to be without you. So I'm going to do whatever it takes, and yeah.
Can I say something too, though? And when I say this, sometimes, there'll be people where it's like, I'm just going to do it and being this strong voice. But I think also to add compassion to it, also seeing what you need to do to become that woman first, because there's always inner work to be done. And when the more you do inner work, the more compassionate you will be for your mate, and you will know the right way to say things, but still being that firm individual that is willing to stand for themselves, to be that voice that they know, like it's been in their heart all this time.
Yeah.
So
I love it, babe. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for, listen, I usually ask people the motto they're here to set. I've asked you on the past, but I'm going to tell you the
oh,
motto that you set. All right. So the motto that you set for other people with how you live your life, you are demonstrating what grace looks like and being able to be strong, but also be kind and compassionate at the same time. Like to be able to walk that line, that balance is something that you do just because you are who you are. Um, the model that you're setting is being a leader for your family. Like you said, you make the decisions. You know, you really do run the household. I might be whatever, anchor, whatever, but you are the person, you know, and you set the temperature, you know, you set the tone and you understand that power now and you've embraced it and stepped into it. And even despite circumstances, you are somebody that I can always count on. You help me to solve my problems. I solve problems for everybody else. You solve my problems. And so you are there to like help the person that is in most need. You know, the person who's responsible for so many other people. You know, you are that. And finally, you set the motto of being, you are so beautiful. You are fine. You are just I love you so much. I just got to just put it out there. Okay. You set that model, you know, so I can hardly keep my eyes off
thank
you.
you.
And you notice, like, you'll be in there doing food prep. I'm just staring at you
Oh
like,
my goodness.
yep. Can't wait to get done. I'm not going to bother her though, because, you know, this is her time. So, you know, I appreciate you. I love you so much. And thank you for, you know, biting the bullet and
Oh
coming on
my
the show
goodness.
today. Thank you, baby.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for being our light. You have changed all of us, our family, and being the best example. I can't even imagine the kind of example I dreamt of you, but you are even better in real life because of the example you set for our kids, for everybody you meet, and I'm just happy to be next to you to witness it all. I'm very honored. So, thank you.
I'm about to run out of here now. I'm gonna run. Life is over. I've accomplished. Thank you so much, baby. That means everything. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the show today and sticking with us for this love fest at the end. But I'm telling you, I'm in love with her. You know, we've been together for about 15 years, and I feel like I just met her. You know, and that's what's possible. You know, it's so crazy that it's even like this. But it just goes back to some of the fundamental things that she's been sharing, you know, and it really just keeps our relationship new because we are new and we're constantly growing and evolving, but honoring each other and paying attention to that. And it does, again, it's not all easy. It's not all sunshine and rainbows and kittens and random deers out on the road. I don't even know if it was a deer. It disappeared apparently. We only know it was a deer by the fur that's in the grill of the car, which is, I know this is kind of a little morbid, but you know, it's a good thing she's okay. What the? Really though? I mean, anyway, so, you know, it's just understanding that a relationship is that it's relating, right? It's relating to another human being, being able to put yourself in their shoes, being able to have patience and compassion and understanding like I I better not treat somebody better than I treat my wife just because I'm used to her. I better talk to her with the same amount of compassion and patience that I would talk to a stranger. You know, if I'm not doing that, I've got to address it myself. I've got to fix something myself. And so I really learned that and I paid attention to that. And again, it's not like I'm perfect, but also she had to learn, you know, it's still the whole me because I'm also the person that will call somebody out, even if it is a stranger. I will like, you know, but me doing that for her, she wasn't trying to feel that at first, you know. And so I had to address another approach to it, but I'm not changing who I am in my core. And she loves me for that. And I love that she loves me for that, you know. And so again, it's not supposed to be all perfect and sunshine and rainbows, but it can be a lot of good days and a lot of happiness but it's just working on yourself and just understanding the value of other people. All right. So, hope you got a lot of value out of this. Make sure to share this out with your friends and family on social media. And of course, you could tag me. I'm at Shawn Model on Instagram. On Facebook, it's at the Model Health Show. Is that right? It's at the Model. I love having her here because she could tell me the truth about stuff. So at the Model Health Show on Facebook, on Twitter, at Shawn Model. And so listen, this is really important stuff. And remember that sharing is caring. All right. So share it out with the people that you care about. I appreciate you immensely. We've got some fire. I'm talking about powerful, powerful stuff coming up for you. So make sure to stay tuned. Take care. Have an amazing day. And I'll talk with you soon.